all news, all the time. This is 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM. You give us 22 minutes, we'll give you the world.
We've got 65 on it, partly cloudy skies at 6:20. I'm Larry Mullins, and here's what's happening tonight. We'll hear from Governor Hochul with a report card on the cell phone ban in schools. They survived, they did survive a whole year, actually. Surveying about 600 people, with most of them saying, what cell phone ban? We didn't miss them at all. Meantime, could the same work for younger kids and their electronic devices? Hang on a second. Got an indictment tonight for the man prosecutors say stabbed a guy to death in Times Square and injured two others, even robbed a vendor along the way. The curfew still in effect tonight over at Delaney Hall in Newark, where those clashes at that ICE detention center intensified over the weekend between protesters and police. Several blocks in Massapequa neighborhood in Nassau were closed today as police investigated a stabbing at a dragnet they had covering several blocks near Merritt Road and the high school there for a suspect. And a once-in-a-lifetime birthday celebration to posthumously honor the late Marilyn Monroe. Oh, she would have been 100. AccuWeather says clear to partly cloudy skies tonight, getting down to a low 53. Wins News Time 621. I'm taking you home. Here is Greg Rice.
Well, getting onto the Brooklyn-bound Brooklyn Bridge is getting worse in lower Manhattan. Here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. Southbound FDR Drive ramp to the Brooklyn-bound Brooklyn Bridge. You got a crash. You got the right lane out. You got the Lower East Side loading up from the Williamsburg along the FDR Drive. Now, if you want to bail off earlier, the Williamsburg, the Manhattan bridges, Brooklyn-bound, they are in pretty good shape. City-bound George, no more than a few minutes on either level. The West Side Highway, a bit sluggish north of the 90s, but everything else is worse. Lincoln, 25 minutes in, 10 to 15 out from 11th, better from 9th. 20 minutes home at the Holland on the Jersey side. Newark Bay, still the better of it either way. Clearview, Throgsneck combination, absolute best of it across the Upper East River. Now, on Long Island, Southern State, the eastbound brake lights over to Grand Avenue. Westbound slows from the Bethpage Parkway. Sunrise Highway, better either way in Nassau County. Greg Rice, 1010 Wins at 92.3 FM.
Governor Hochul says she's giving good marks to a program which stripped cell phones out of schools this year. It's the first and arguably the strictest in the country. Today, she says this first test year has gone very, very well. And as to the question of whether she'll expand the device ban to include screens or iPads used by the younger kids, she says, well, I'm not rushing it at all, but we are discussing the pros and cons of it.
I spent a year going around the state, gathering information, assessing it, analyzing it, and coming up with a really solid policy. So I would engage in that before I would give an answer on how I feel about this.
Yeah, and as for the cell phone ban, which has been in place now this whole school year, she got feedback from students and teachers who say, you know what, maybe there is something to this.
80% reported that the students are behaving better in a more engaged way. They're collaborating more. They're talking to each other. And basically, I read all the comments. They're acting like kids again, feeling that burden lifted from their shoulders.
Go figure. Some kids we talk with say they discovered something they hadn't really experienced before. Talking to their classmates, hands-free, without a phone. The Manhattan DA with an announcement tonight in a brutal Midtown murder and attack which happened right in the middle of Times Square.
17-year-old Jaden Sanchez is charged with terrorizing people on several occasions in Midtown over the last 2 months, ending in the stabbing death of a man who was sleeping on a ledge. Authorities say Sanchez and two others woke up Leonidas Baez by throwing his bag at his head. Then one of them threw a cup of their own urine at him before Sanchez allegedly stabbed him in the heart with an 8-inch blade. In other incidents, authorities say Sanchez stabbed two others working at a newsstand and a souvenir shop. Mac Rosenberg, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
That mandatory curfew still in place at the Delaney Hall detention facility in New Jersey now. All this after fiery clashes between protesters and law enforcement over the weekend. Folks outraged over claims of inhumane treatment of detainees. Newark Mayor Ras Baraka ordered the curfew late Saturday after back-to-back clashes between protesters and state police. This covers a half-mile area around Delaney. The clashes started late Friday when officials say people were setting tires on fire in the streets. One of the biggest crowds yet turned out on Saturday as both protesters and counter-protesters, reportedly members of the Proud Boys, clashed outside the place. Under the current curfew, Doremus Avenue, which runs alongside the facility, closed to pedestrian traffic every night, starts at 9 o'clock, and it goes until 6 the following morning. The mayor says vehicle access will also be limited to people with official business only. Serena Williams returning to pro tennis at age 44. It's been nearly 4 years since she hung it up. The 23-time Grand Slam singles champ has accepted a wild card invitation to play doubles at the Queens Club. The WTA Tour announced the tournament starts June the 8th. Williams hadn't competed since bidding farewell at the 2022 U.S. Open. At the time, she didn't want to use the word retiring, instead declaring that she was evolving away from tennis. And now Bloomberg Money Watch.
It isn't planning table linens, candlelight, or strolling violins, but McDonald's wants to class things up a little. It's testing new menu items, including hand-breaded wings and fillets, as part of a revamped strategy to make its fast food feel less like fast food. Mickey D's also is upgrading dining rooms, including making layouts airier and more open, and refreshing the design of its playgrounds. President Trump's word that the U.S. and Iran are still talking helped alleviate early market jitters, and we finished the day at new records. Dow rose 46, NASDAQ up 114, S&P added 20. I'm Andrew O'Day, Bloomberg Money Watch on 1010 Wins at 92.3 FM.
1010 Wins. All the headlines I need.
At any time of the day, wherever I'm going, whatever I'm doing.
Gotta know what's happening in my city. 1010 Wins.
On 92.3 FM.
Wins News Time, 6:30.
Good evening, I'm Lori Madden. Crime scene tape is up at a home on Beaumont Avenue in Massapequa tonight. A woman is under arrest after a man was found dead. The charges have not yet been announced. The circumstances of what exactly happened still unclear at this hour.
They were in the yards with the dogs, and I was panicking because I figured somebody was on the loose.
Neighbors walked out of their homes in the middle of the night to see helicopters and police dogs after authorities say a man was stabbed to death here in Massapequa.
I saw the helicopters. They circled for a few hours.
Police say a 22-year-old female was arrested. The victim's sister lives down the street.
I saw Chris, who's my next-door neighbor, and he was crying in front of the house. What's the matter with his brother-in-law was killed?
Neighbors say the 28-year-old victim worked at an auto body repair shop. Sophia Hall, 1010 Wins, at 92.3 FM on Long Island.
Wins News Time, 6:31. Let's get you where you need to go. Here's Greg Rice.
A better ride right now, or it's going to be on the southbound side of the FDR. They're trying to get rid of a crash on the ramp from the southbound FDR to the Brooklyn-bound Brooklyn Bridge. But as they try to get this thing out of the way, we're slow from the Williamsburg on down. Brooklyn-bound Brooklyn Bridge, very slow out of lower Manhattan, even once you get past the crash. Manhattan Bridge, Williamsburg Bridge, better rides, Brooklyn-bound. Rest of the bridges and tunnels, well, here's what you need to know. West Side Highway, it's a bit slow right now once you get there from the 90s to the water treatment plant, but everything else is worse. City-bound George, pretty good to the upper and lower. Looking Lincoln, it's about 15 to 20 in, no more than 10 out. Holland, 15 to 20 home. On the Jersey side, Newark Bay, better either way. Clearview, Throgs Neck combination, that continues to be your winner. Across the upper East River. To and from Staten Island, the bridges are fine, but the Staten Island Expressway is messy either way through the MLK Expressway. Westchester, Hutch slows either way to Weaver Street. Stay with 95. You'll stay on the gas. And in Rockland, off of the Mario Cuomo Bridge, the northbound New York State Thruway stays slow until you get beyond the Palisades. Greg Rice, 1010 Wins at 92.3 FM.
Let's get a check now of your AccuWeather forecast. Here is meteorologist John Feerick.
We're going to turn out mostly clear for tonight. It's going to be a cool night out there for early June. We'll dip back into the 40s in most suburbs, 53 in Midtown. So heading out tonight, might need a jacket or sweatshirt, even first thing tomorrow morning. But then tomorrow, absolutely beautiful. Plenty of sunshine to start, maybe a few clouds building up in the afternoon. A little bit warmer, up to 76, and then mostly clear tomorrow night, down to 59. Sunny and beautiful again on Wednesday. We're up to 70. We'll warm up late in the week. Sunshine for Thursday, up to 84, and then the real heat gets in here, it looks like Friday into Saturday, with highs both of those days up near 90. Right now in Central Park, got 65 with some sun. Going down to 53 tonight in Midtown. I'm AccuWeather's John Feerick on New York's weather station, 1010 Winds on 92.3 FM.
Today marks what would have been a screen legend's milestone birthday, and it's a day to celebrate on Staten Island.
Staten Island seniors turning 100 or older got a surprise of a lifetime. Marilyn Monroe singing happy birthday to them.
Happy 100th birthday.
The real Marilyn Monroe, may she rest in peace, would have been 100 today. But this performer looks and sounds a lot like her.
So I'm so happy to bring back that old times and to see how you guys live. Have a playful, good time with you.
Josephine was loving it.
Happy birthday, Marilyn Monroe. And where's Joe DiMaggio?
6 seniors here celebrating birthdays 100 and older and got to cut the cake with Marilyn herself. Mary Lynn Buckley, 1010 wins on 92.3 FM in Willowbrook, Staten Island.
Remote work might be convenient for many, but a new report says the numbers aren't adding up for some.
The New York Fed now says the unemployment rate among recent college graduates in remotable industries like software development is up marginally since the pandemic, about 1%. Meanwhile, for people over the age of 29 in those industries, the jobless rate is actually down slightly. Experts say that indicates employers may be more reluctant to hire younger generations for jobs that can be done remotely. In non-remotable industries like nursing, there's no notable difference between age groups. Mike Dubusky, ABC News.
65 degrees now. We are going down to 53 here in the city, down to the 40s in some suburbs tonight. Your city, your news, your station. 1010 wins at 92.3 FM.
The News Watch never stops. This is 1010 wins on 92.3 FM. You give us 22 minutes, we'll give you the world.
Good evening. 65 degrees at 6:40. I'm Lori Madden, and here's what's happening. As the school year winds down, Governor Hochul says the cell phone ban in class is working and might be further expanded. The mayor of New York signs an executive order that every young Knicks fan will love. Parents, though, you're on notice this week. The FDNY unions urge the city council and the mayor to add a 5th firefighter to trucks in all 5 boroughs, something that is under consideration. One person is found dead, another critically injured in a fire in Sunnyside, Queens. An experimental pill shows promise, but not a cure for treatment of pancreatic cancer. 1010 wins AccuWeather says a little bit chilly tonight. We're going down to 53 degrees here in the city, down to the 40s in some suburbs. Sunshine tomorrow, followed by clouds, high 76. Wins News Time 6:41. Let's get you where you need to go. Here's Greg Rice.
Now, still a tough ride through lower Manhattan. Southbound FDR Drive, the ramp to the Brooklyn-bound Brooklyn Bridge. You got a breakdown blocking the right lane, and that's why the FDR is still slow from Grand Street, if not Montgomery Street, down to the Brooklyn-bound Brooklyn Bridge. Now, the Brooklyn-bound Brooklyn Bridge, once you're there, still an absolute standstill across the lower East River. The Manhattan Bridge, the Williamsburg Bridge, even the Battery Tunnel Brooklyn-bound, they're better. City-bound George, just a couple of minutes. The west side, the best of it out, but you got to get to the West Side Highway first, as we've been telling you all day, because it just hasn't stopped. On the northbound West Side near West 50th Street, 2 of the 4 lanes are down for what looks to be ongoing emergency construction work, and that's why the west side is loaded up from the 20s up to the 50s. Once you get to the highway portion of the West Side Highway, it does do better. Lincoln's about 25 minutes in, 15 to 20 out from 11th, better from 9th. Holland, 10 to 15 minutes home. Inbound side of the Skyway is slow. The Newark Bay extension into town, that does better. Bridges to and from Staten Island behave. The Belt in Brooklyn, that's only getting worse. Looks like a brand new westbound crash on the Belt near Bay Ape Street. That's why you're slow all the way on back towards Knapp Street. Eastbound bunched up to Bay Parkway, and in Queens, eastbound Belt slows getting out towards Sunrise Highway. Greg Rice, 1010 wins at 92.3 FM.
Governor Hochul is touting the school cell phone ban that she helped drive and says it could be expanded for younger kids and other devices.
Some of the early schools are saying not for younger ones, keep the kids off the screens overall. And so I think my gut tells me that's the way to go, but I also don't want to interfere with a way to educate our students that teachers may be wanting to do.
According to her office, teachers are reporting that they're noticing better engagement with that ban.
Governor Hochul back in the classroom and sitting at a desk with kids and teachers.
That is the coolest school bell I've ever heard.
Talking about what life has been like since the cell phone ban went into effect.
Because of cell phones in classrooms, it was harder to teach. And for teachers, this is their passion. They want to have a personal relationship with each student.
And she heard directly from the students.
Tell me some of the benefits. Anyone else?
I've noticed a lot of kids talking with each other more engaged in conversation. A lot of kids playing sports with each other.
Teachers say they notice kids are more involved in lesson plans, and bullying also is down. Mary Lynn Buckley, 1010 wins on 92.3 FM.
Game 1 of the NBA Finals between the Knicks and Spurs is this Wednesday. Game time, 8:30 p.m. And that might be a little late for some, especially the little ones. And the mayor of New York had a message for parents today. The mayor said he has signed an executive order that requires parents to get rid of the bedtime hour. We're going to have more on that coming up with our Juliet Papa in just a moment. Okay, we're going to get back now to that Juliet Papa story out of City Hall today with the mayor and a very special executive order.
From the city's #1 Knicks fan, direct from the Blue Room at City Hall, Mayor Mamdani with young fans ready to sign an executive order.
Who's ready to watch the Knicks? Me! Who's ready to watch the Knicks win the championship? Me! All right, here we go.
And with the stroke of a pen,
executive order is signed. Bedtime is repealed. All of you can watch the finals. How do you feel?
So now, per Mayor Mamdani, kids of all ages can watch the Knicks past their bedtimes starting Wednesday night, Game 1. Juliet Papa, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
If you want to see the Knicks Spurs in person, might be cheaper to fly to San Antonio than seeing the finals here in New York. According to TickPick, the cheapest ticket for Game 1 at the Frostbank Center is about $1,100. Round-trip flight today will set you back about $680. You can get a cheapo hotel room for about $100. The whole trip to Texas with that ticket will cost about $1,900. Now, compare that to just getting a ticket alone for Game 3 at Madison Square Garden. Right now on TickPick, a resale ticket is about $4,200. So a trip to Texas with that ticket is about $2,300 less than seeing the finals here. Now let's head to soccer. You have a chance to see 2 World Cup warm-up games this weekend for just $25 a pop. The pre-tournament friendlies will be at Sports Illustrated Stadium in Harrison, New Jersey, home to the Red Bulls. On Saturday, it's Bolivia versus Scotland. On Sunday, Norway versus Morocco. Mayor Mamdani's office says the Public-Private Host Committee, in conjunction with elected officials on both sides of the Hudson, teamed up on this one to make the discount tickets happen. You can find those tickets at the Road to 26 website. One of the most Instagram streets in the 5 boroughs, maybe even more Instagrammed this summer, with all of the events going on, including the World Cup. Residents and businesses in Dumbo, though, are raising concerns.
So Dumbo's a must-see for tourists coming to the city, but thousands of them coming in daily? That's causing concern for Councilman Lincoln Ressler.
It's a small neighborhood with narrow streets, and it's been a lot for the community to handle.
And with one of the city's busiest summers just weeks away,
FIFA World Cup Village coming to Dumbo, the Macy's 50th anniversary of the fireworks.
He's been pushing for city agencies
to be more involved in a deliberate, comprehensive tourism planning, try to spread tourists out across the neighborhood, not just following the same exact route.
He says we do benefit from tourism, but Dumbo needs a vendor plaza, more enforcement, and Mayor Mamdani's support to make this all happen. I'm Andy Alexander, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
As city lawmakers and the mayor consider bringing a 5th firefighter back to trucks in all 5 boroughs, FDNY unions are making their voices heard.
20 engines in the most fire-prone areas of the city have 5 firefighters, and there's a push to make it 86 engines.
You will get the hose line stretched faster just with the 5th firefighter.
Bobby Eustace with the Firefighters Union thinks the Bronx should be a focal point. The FDNY needs $91 million from the city to do this, and they have the support of Council Speaker Julie Menon, who calls it common sense.
This literally is going to save New Yorkers' lives. It will save firefighters' lives.
The FDNY Union partially blames Mayor Adams, who cut the 5th firefighter when he took office. Weeks later, 17 were killed in a Bronx fire. Mac Rosenberg, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
The cause of a fire in Sunnyside, Queens, where one person was found dead, is under investigation tonight. The FDNY says another person was critically injured in the blaze in a 5-story building on 40th Street. They say they got the call just after 2:30 this morning, and that the fire apparently erupted on the 2nd floor before spreading to the 3rd. One firefighter also suffered smoke inhalation. It's not a cure, but scientists and doctors are taking note of an experimental treatment for pancreatic cancer.
It's being called a landmark breakthrough in fighting pancreatic cancer, and it could open the door to other cancer treatments. It's called daraxonrasib, and according to the results of a clinical trial, it can double a patient's survival time. In the trial of 500 patients with advanced pancreatic cancer, the drug reduced the overall risk of death by 60% compared to patients who had only chemotherapy. And those who took the drug lived substantially longer, for an average of 13 months compared to about 6.5 months for those who only had chemo. Another benefit, it's a daily pill instead, with fewer side effects reported.
That's correspondent Sophie Flay. But first, WIN's News Time, 6:51. Let's get you where you need to go. Here's Greg Rice.
Well, still some trouble in lower Manhattan. Southbound FDR Drive bunched up from Montgomery Street down to the Brooklyn Bridge because on that southbound FDR ramp to the Brooklyn-bound Brooklyn Bridge, we're dealing with a breakdown. You got the right lane out, and then the Brooklyn-bound Brooklyn Bridge is still loaded up out of lower Manhattan, the Manhattan Bridge, the Williamsburg Bridge, the Battery Tunnel. They're all better Brooklyn-bound. Rest of the bridges and tunnels, here's what you need to know. City-bound George is fine. West side north of West 50th Street especially, the best of it out of town. Northbound west side near West 50th Street, we've got the ongoing emergency construction work limiting you from 4 lanes down to 2. Now, the Lincoln Tunnel's about 15 to 20 in. Extra 10 minutes home from 11th, so you want 9th. Outbound Holland, 10 to 15 minutes. Inbound Skyway is a bit slow. The Newark Bay is where you go. Clearview Throgs next, still the best you'll get across the Upper East River. Brooklyn Belt, bumper to bumper either way through Bay Parkway as we get rid of a westbound crash, but it's why you're all jammed up westbound from Flatbush Avenue and eastbound from before the Verrazano Narrows Bridge. Cross Island, extra south, extra slow southbound from Bayside Marina to Hillside Avenue. Go to the southbound Clearview instead. It's a whole lot better. Greg Rice, 1010 wins at 92.3 FM.
Let's get a check now of your AccuWeather forecast. Here is meteorologist John Feerick.
We'll have a mostly clear sky for tonight. A little bit on the cool side for early June. We'll fall back into the 40s in most suburbs by tomorrow morning. 53 for a low in Midtown. And then tomorrow, after a cool start, it's going to be really another gorgeous day. Sunshine and a few clouds up to 76. Good day to take lunch outside again tomorrow. Then mostly clear for tomorrow night, down to 59. Sunshine for Wednesday. We're up to 78. And then we'll heat up a little bit later in the week. Thursday, sunny up to 84. And then hot for Friday and Saturday, feeling more like summer both days.